Hello again, and welcome back to the composition vlog. It's been about 4 weeks since I last filmed one of these, and yeah, it's been kind of a crazy 4 weeks. I've had my PhD progression assessment Viva, and then about 3 or 4 days after that, flew off to Chicago with bastard assignments to work with MoCrep for a week. And then came back from that and straight into rehearsals for a new collaboration we're working on for the next Bastard Assignments gig, which is on 15th of June. So it's been crazy busy, and today I've just been in the studio for the first time in what feels like weeks and weeks, just really hanging out here and sort of connecting with the space and trying to remember what it is that I do here. So that's been really nice. Yeah, but it's been a great few weeks. It's been really exciting. We performed Aides Memoire at a house gig in Chicago in a venue called Flood House, which is in somebody's basement, which was brilliant. It was awesome, and it was a very different feel from performing it in Asylum, and the resulting photos sort of reflect that, you know, bicycles on the wall and electrical cables and things like that. And again, I'm very pleased with them and not quite sure what I'm going to do with them. I think I may be going to sort of print up some of these photos that are this byproduct of Aides Memoire and perhaps put them on the wall at the next Bastard Assignments gig, but I'll work that out over the next couple of weeks and tell you if that's going to happen. We also got the video back of the Asylum performance of Aides Memoire, and while I haven't watched all of it yet, what I've seen, it looks great, so I'll put a link to that below if you're interested in seeing the whole thing. I think the biggest thing composition-wise that's happened in the last few weeks is that the piece I was writing for Plus Minus Ensemble is now no longer for Plus Minus Ensemble. This is basically my fault. Vicky from Plus Minus asked me if I was putting something in the next Bath Spa University workshop that they're doing, which is next week, and I really enjoyed working with them so much, and I thought, well, that'd be nice, but I didn't really want to sort of sort anything out until I knew I'd be likely to have something. And it seems that this year the workshops are a bit different, and there's actually no space for PhD students to be in it, so that's okay, but it does mean that I have this idea that doesn't have a home. So I've been kind of thinking about how that might be reworked to be a piece for Bastard Assignments, or how it might potentially be a piece for either ensemble. Yeah, and just sort of trying to rethink a little bit how that might look. I mean, it would be a relatively straightforward theoretical thing to just switch out Alice Purton's amazing cello playing with my deeply inadequate viola playing, but that in itself sort of, you know, there are differences in quality of a vast magnitude, and it would change the way that I approach that part. Yeah, so I'm sort of thinking about things like that and how I'm going to deal with it. Before I went to Chicago, I did some rough filming because I wanted to spend some time on the plane editing that video that I've talked about, that's sort of been mentally the basis for what I'm thinking of as a rhythm involving quarter tones in the instruments. Yeah, that got a bit hampered by the fact that then I discovered that the video software I could get for my very ancient iPad 2 doesn't do layers, and it wouldn't import the video file, and yeah, that failed. This morning, however, I've put together some stuff and done a really rough version of what I'm thinking of, which is kind of how I'd imagined it, but not entirely. It needs a lot of work, but it's good to feels good to have started that, and to have something to actually look at and to really sort of get to grips with and how I'm going to proceed with that. However, I've been having some problems with the piece in general, just feeling a little bit unfocused and directionless. Part of this is because I feel it hasn't been very connected to my research. Now, I know there's people who watch this who are likely to say, well, it doesn't have to be connected to the research, you can just do a piece, and this is true. However, I have found sort of historically that when I just write things because I think they sound nice, they tend to come out a bit wet. All my best pieces have been grounded in research, and I'm just happier sort of feeling that there's a clear focus for what I want to do, which this doesn't have at the moment. So I've been thinking about it in connection with what I'm doing for the PhD and sort of how it might express some of the ideas I have about that work. Haven't really come to any conclusions yet, and it may still just turn out to be something that it's just like, just a thing, I'm just going to do this. Yeah, but it's just sort of trying to find a shape for it. I mean, part of this has also been that the idea about the video sort of turning into a rhythm in the instruments, and I felt that sort of once it's in the instruments there's no need for the video, and that the video, instead of being something that's shown, is actually perhaps just a step to getting something happening sonically. It felt sort of redundant to have it be displayed as well. But I had been thinking about this as a piece for 3 players and video, and so I've been trying to sort of rethink what that might be, how that video might be an essential part of the piece. Yeah, so that's making some limping progress, shall we say, but progress nevertheless. It's just really nice to have a project to work on. I had another meeting with Amy Jolly, the cellist I'm working on the variations on a theme of Benjamin Britten for. I haven't had any time at all to work on this piece, but we've set a deadline for that, where we're going to meet up, and I'm definitely going to have something to show her by then. So I've got, I think, about a month till that happens. Yeah, so it's going to be good to get back to that as well. I've got a few weeks actually where things are pretty clear. Shh. I might actually get to be in here and doing some work. I'm so excited, it's going to be great. Yeah, the only other thing I've got to report is that after the work I did with the viola last time, I did another viola improvisation, which I absolutely hated. It was ghastly. It had no redeeming features whatsoever. But what was interesting about it was that whereas the stuff I'd done at the BBC and the improvisation I'd done before, I felt like I was finding new sounds on the instrument and new approaches, not just using the same thing over and over again. And this was one of the things that got me really interested in it, because on the flute I feel like I've got 3 different things I do when I improvise, and yeah, I just kind of cycle around them. This piece though, I felt very much like I was falling back on things I'd used before, and it was quite frustrating. I felt very much like I actually do need new strings. I possibly need my bow rehead, and some lessons as well, perhaps. Because I just felt that I love the scratchy sounds, but I really wanted to intersperse them with, you know, nice, nice tone as well. I felt that would actually be much better, and I think the strings are just too old. Really, I think that's the principal problem. They're really, really, really old. I think a couple of them have been on there since I started playing in the 1980s. Yes, so yeah, they're past it basically, and I just need new ones. However, new ones obviously cost money, which I don't have at the moment, and so I'm going to keep working with what I've got and just see if I can push it any further, and then once I can, I'll prioritise getting new strings and find a teacher. So that's about it for this time. Thank you very much for watching. As always, if you've got any comments or questions, please leave them below, and I will attempt to answer any of your questions. Yeah, like I say, I'm back in the studio now, so hopefully things will become a bit more regular with these, and I'll see you in a couple of weeks. Thanks. Bye.